Okay. Safer. Spoke too soon. Very safer. Okay, let's tackle this one again. Let's start again from the beginning. Let's see if we can run through it. Power play. Okay. Chochmos b'chutz tarona b'chovas titen kola. Anu amrim tamid. Anu marim tamid. Ba'aliyah. We show clearly hilulei yada enosh mimamad har Sinai. If a person were not to know Mamad har Sinai, the Torah batzma machrezes for Meres King Shemai. Torah itself indicates that it's from Shemayim. It declares it. We see Dina. First comes to country. Dina is going to inquire after the laws of the country. Be careful of them. Because he knows his soul or his money is in danger. Why should the king of the world be any different? Yeah, just like you prepare yourself to face your to face a new human king, you prepare yourself to face Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The Ravi Menel Shanas Maso to be in fear of him and to change your deeds. Adam Ba'atzmo Mikol Mile Da'alma. Why should a person be any different, right? In that, in all other matters, you certainly should be careful about damage, especially damage which is very long term. So elavadai, but nevertheless. Yanki Amratar Ma Hashem Okecha Shalom Eimach. V'Amrazal Kol B'Dei Shem Chutz Mir Shamayim. The person, what does Hashem ask you? Only this one thing, right? And I think what the Alter is saying here is that you don't have to know everything. You have to be, even though if you go to a new kingdom, you have to learn all the rules and regulations. And therefore, Rosh Hashanah, you should have to know all the rules and regulations. No. Hashem only asks one thing of you. Yira Shemayim. Hashem Shoel Mimcha Kim Liyira. The thing is, there's a flip side to this. Even if you know everything, if you complete Amunah, he calls him, if you didn't involve yourself in learning the Yira, as you should, come forward by Mama inside Russia, it won't help you at all. In other words, being familiar with the laws is not the thing for Rosh Hashanah. Come forward by Mama inside Russia. Sorry. The ultimate Chochmo is Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim Moshiadata Reino Alzeh. So Chochma in and of itself is not the end goal. Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim, which we assume is linked to Yerusha Shamayim, that's the end goal. So the Torah gives its message in the streets. There's it has to be the Ma'aseh Elokim, the Torah, that there should be this change in a person's mind, davar midavar, from one thing to another, and that is, I guess, sufficient. Again, somehow or another, his ways learning it is Yira Shamayim is all you need, and Yira Shamayim will result in Tshuva Ma'asim Tovim. But Yira Shamayim is what you need, and it's astonishing. This lashon Atam Ma'ashem Okel Shomel Mimcha Ki Im Liyira, right? In other words, the Yira is everything. That is an amazing statement. That Yira should be everything. If it was down a legal code, you'd be responsible for every single jot and tittle. But no, we ask you specifically for Yira Shamayim. That's that, and the Chochmas b'chutz Torona, that Chochma and Torah is Yira Shamayim. That's an amazing thing. It indicates its divinity.
Mhm.
Ulepela echlo yes zeh davar lemoifis l'rabim. There should be a sign for the masses. Lishtoel l'shteim al ashir nifla mikotze kotze, but also adam atzmo. The change made a person from a complete change, right? Made which is made just by yiras shamayim. When he sees a table or a chair made by an expert craftsman, it's going to ask who the craftsman is. This is nobody in this world, no can replicate even the smallest aspect of this world. Avgam Kanaf Katan, even the wing of a small fly. There was nobody and will be nobody who can construct it. And nobody quests and nobody seeks who created this wondrous world. For Lama Bano, why he built it, and for who did he build it? There's a taxman for what purpose he built it. This is so missing, this vision. They lack such vision, such perception, I should say, that they don't have any astonishment at the amazing things in the world. But it can only be an act of God. Okay, so in this respect, he's saying, what does Hashem ask you? Only to pay attention, to have the chazayin, right? To see that this
Mhm.
is what the world is about.
Yes.
I'm not sure it means my shnei hafachim b'nosei echad. It means it's obviously there's some sort of paradox. That I
Two
don't know.
extremes in one topic.
There
There
was
can be someone. There can be someone who sees, and it's clear to him like day, and then there could be a different person. He has no perception of it. It just passes him by. He doesn't even think about it.
right. Okay, that must be it. Bachar kiranu roim b'chush ki zeh chelik b'fnei atzmo asher nitan l'adam liknos oso rak edei limud b'hergel mishuna k'mikol chel adam. Since this is a Yiras Shamayim is something which is a specific aspect, which a person can only acquire by learning and habits. It's different, and all other aspects of human, which is why Mussar was considered to be a separate avoida than other avoidas of a person. Okay, Mussar v'tziyur, a person has to be involved in Mussar and imagery. Until he gets the point of that Yiras Shamayim. Kosh can be Yom Adin or Golvanor, and certainly a person should be afraid of the ultimate Yom Adin. But who will be able to bear it. Kain Matzinu, and therefore we found Sharabeinu Tam Zalahelo Sefer Yuchad. Kasu Sham Kol Anoshim Rosham, the all punishments to Sham randomly crossed by Tamid. Man Yamdu Negdo Atzir Me'ela. So it should be graphic for him. Tam Zalahelo Tzarech Lezeh, Ono Manana Basrei. Certainly us. Then somebody who has an intellect which is working, I would say. So find moon in everything. And this working intellect, the person will get from learning Torah. Now we get to the hard part. Itmar Abayim Mar Mishmei Rabbi Chia Barav Chayev Shtayim Chada Knisa v'Chada Aprisha. Right, he's good Chayev once I'm going in and once I'm coming out when he has a bio with a nida. Chulei Ad Amar Abat V'Tavayu Tnina. We learned both of them. Knisa Tnina Nimtza Al Shalo Tmein V'Chayavim B'Karban. If they find blood on his cloth, the tame and the chayav korban. So that's my lab is samach lebest baknisa. It's when it's near the time she's gonna see blood, and he should have been careful, and he went in anyway, and then he found blood. He's chayav. It's obviously it's chayiv. So the low nema mezidu. So the answer is yeah, he's chayiv. But the question is, why is he only chayiv korban, not chayiv koris? Because he's
Right.
amazing. Mishum mizartem, because there's a specific prohibition to have relations when it's near the period time. Uh, no, really, it's going on when it's not, when she's about to see blood. Vaprisha, and he's not chayiv on the knisa. Why? Because the knisa was an onus, because it wasn't some levesta, right? It's not a shogeg, so it can't be chayiv korban on that, right? But he's chayiv on the prisha. Vayitani nimsa al shalot tmei misafek u'tumia korban. Now it says, well, once we say that when you find blood on her cloth, it's only coming Mussar korban because we don't know, maybe that blood came later on, not at the time of bia, right? Dynamic also mentions that finds on him, then he's chayav a they're chayav a korban, but that was specifically talking about a prisha, right? Not knisa, where we know chayav korban because it's an honest. Upirish Rashi ayduchuli the mechalik sham benimtzel outer chayav korban chuli yon sham. So Rashi says there he distinguishes between when they find immediately, which is al shaloi, or al shalom immediately also, actually. Al shalom is even lachrazman. I take that back. Al shalom is clear. It's dam nida, which is there when they're having bia. But al shalom, there's a difference. They find it right away, so they assume it was at the time of bia, and then they're chayiv korban. They find it a little bit later, so they might be chayiv asham toli, because they're not sure if they're over or not, but they're not chayiv achatos. Okay? So, but here the kashla Rashi. So what's difficult to Rashi is hello, prisha tnina, right? We're talking about prisha, my ID, right? So nimtza shalah is the reason. It said, since it says that, it says nimtza shalah, right? So we're talking about prisha. Why need the ID?
Right.
Okay, so if, we find that it is chayav korban. Period. Right.
Right.
So okay. Near the question of low prisha thing, my ID. L'chein kosa da sefer kai abdika lacher tashmish. So therefore he says it's where they check after tashmish. The sefer, and because of the sefer, kitani nami im nimtza al shaloi. So since we find on her, it also says we find on him, but not literally, because we don't need that, right? Nimtza al shaloi is enough, right?
Right. Right.
Why say nimtza al shaloi? So he says, no. Perish misiba shaloi, right? That's talking about on his account, where it's his, so to speak, fault. Okay, and I don't. Again, we didn't see this in Rashi, but perish misiba shaloi, the perish ebrachai nami chayav korban, right? But since since the korban comes on his account because he was perish ebrachai.
Right.
I hate the Gemara Shal Matir Shal Korban Kabbalas Rashi's okay. Varma, which of course we did not see. Varma Sham Amalei Avil Rabbadim Mi Matzis Lukmo Lahi B'Shlo Samach Lebesta Prisha. How can you say it's so about when it wasn't near her period and so about the Chiv Korbas on the Prisha? Nimtza Ktani. It's the blood was found. Nimtza B'Sar Hachim Mashma, and it sounds like that's found afterwards, right? Via prisha, mekar ki parishle, mekar have idea. Why is he chayav on prisha? The Kar is also an onus, right? Because he didn't know. No, he's not honest because he was told, his wife told him in the middle, I became a nida. Okay, so that's why it's shogeg, because he didn't know that Prisha is also at that point. So that makes it into shogeg. So right, so he says, uh, um, so he knew, right? So what do you mean nimsa? When he found afterwards, he already knew. That's why he was Polish to begin with. And that's why Prisha is a shogeg. Rabbi Tzais Maida Kamer Rabach. Listen to what your Rebbe's telling you. It's good. It's a good. It's a good question. How can I? I can't listen to this. In this respect, the Tanya law Zui mitzvahs asay shebenida. It says that the prisha is a mitzvah asay, right? V'im isa mitzvah losa asay. But if he's right, that he knew ahead of time, it's a losa asay. So, Akal Shagmar. Kushas Ravina Rabashi Mishum Losha Nimtza Mashma Adam. It sounds like going in the blood. Most safe Nimtza Shalom. Korcha Kai Adam. Right? It's going about. Im Nimtza Adam Nida Al Shalom. Mochen Reisha Nimtza Al Shalom. Gamkin Adam. It seems it's all going in blood. Rav Adam Mishum HaBraisa, the Tana law, because the Braisa of which we learned concerning that. Zumitzah Sasesha Benida. The China Lomar, he says, no, you're right. It can't, you know what? I understand what you're saying. And therefore, the China Lomar Perish Nimtza Chata Al Siba Shalom. He says, the Nimtza here doesn't mean that the dam, but Nimtza Hachit. Haina Prisha. Right? Trying to say for Nimtza Shalom Miyad. Chayav Karban. There, since it says at the end, Nimtza Shalom Yad Chayav Karban, which means that if we find on her cloth immediately after Bia, so we say they're Chayav Achatas. Kamaresha Nami Yesh Obash Chayav Karban in Piresh. He created the Chait. If he was Piresh after he knew that she was a Nida, so it's not Nimtza the dam, but nimtza his chait is what required them to bring a korban. Yesh over shchayv korban igay b'shva. Maybe of it shakor tzorich lamar libed ravada ada kain sigon abraisa. So that's what you have to say to. That's what you have to say according to Ravada is the way to learn the brisa. Again, I don't think we saw that inside, but that's what he was learning. Nimtza shalo is different than nimtza shalo. Nimtza shalo is adam. Nimtza shalo is the chait. Okay. Me'atorei. So come see. Yesh dochak yosem ezel parsha brisa kain. How could it possibly be something more dochuk than that? But Gam Rabbi Ravina says more. He says there can't be, right? So because that's not what that's not what nimtza means. He was learning nimtza. Ravina was learning nimtza. Kipshuto, it's going on dam. He says you can't. It's not a chait. Vulo samli bolakos emishuma brisa. He ignored all that because of the brisa. Is there more of a honest intellect than this? In other words, okay, that's interesting. This insight. In other words, the fact that he has to go to such a doichak, he's compelled to do so, even though it goes against the grain of the lashon, even though it seems not to be the svara, which is underlying the entire sugya. If you learn it like the Alter of Kelm, then intellectual honesty compels you to come up with a creative solution, even if it's doichak. If you're going to learn it, then you have to amend the brisa. That's nimtza is on the blood. I don't remember this part of the Gemara, but evidently there's another way out of it, which is to put a whole additional part in the brisa. Okay, in other words, you say that intellectual honesty requires sometimes major chidushin. So it's a primary a thing in Torah to have shikol hadas, to carefully weigh and be intellectually honest. The male of mishi yesh lo shikol hadas, yamim shikol daito is chaybu samura. Somebody who weighs things and is intellectually honest. He's going to find the compelling, that Amuna is compelling b'chol ever pina, everywhere where he turns. When people ask me about the age of the universe and evolution, I say, age of the universe doesn't bother me. The age of the universe could be 15 billion years old, and there are many ways to resolve that based on Kabbalah. Rabbi Kaplan has a whole discussion. But evolution,
Yes.
what?
Yes, I have that safer.
Right. So evolution is not, to me, it's nonsense. It's not because of religion. Just, it makes no sense that these things, these highly intricate mechanisms developed on their own, things which we can't replicate as human beings. And
it's like saying the table built itself.
Right. And whenever you see in the newspaper, it says evolution designed, right? Evolution is not it's not an intellect. It can't design. Evolution provided. It's just a simple escape from acknowledging that there has to have been a creator. So, yeah. So, but
I'm in agreement with you.
What?
I'm in agreement with you, 100%.
You have to have shikul hadas in order to come to the conclusion.
You have to be honest. You have to be honest.
Oh boy. Tema, the adifa min have a matzah mifrach. Me'adik tanim sefa uchli p'tur min ha-korban. My potter came in the Amra nit Macy. Evidently in the sefer there should be chayiv korban because she said nit Macy in the middle and it says p'tur min ha-korban. Zeh peled the vayna ha-korban sefer arek kipashto b'yidik achar tashmish. But that's the sefer evidently said about where she checked after tashmish. Kamashlo and chidush being bought kam yarachar tashmish, and it's coming to tell us the chidush if you check immediately after tashmish. Bevade roasa b'shas tashmish chavin korban, but it's not talking about it's not talking about where she told in the middle and then he went out. Just talking about a regular biyah and being chayav on the knisa when you find blood immediately afterwards. Okay, but that's already going into the London of the sugya. By the fast Torah. She asks, so Rashi brings down the pshat in order that she should become disgusting in the eyes of the person who captured her. But Ramban says no. It's for honor of her father and mother who died. It's nothing to do with religion, intellectual honesty, and balanced thinking requires a person to honor his father and his mother, b'chaim uv'maves, both of them during life and during death. To let her l'kayim mitzvah shikul hadas. I think there are many things which are explained that way in Torah which have to do with shikul hadas. That's, for example, why there's no mitzvah, one of the reasons there's no mitzvah puravu for women. You don't need it, right? We know that a woman's going to want to have children, so therefore there's no necessity to have a mitzvah for her. So there's certain things which the Torah said, shikul hadas, you don't need to make it a mitzvah. That's what I think. Kama gadol shikul hadas. Okay, we made it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Very good. Yes, take care.
Okay.
Have a good
Next
week.
week we do Chav Ches because we did Chav Zayin.
Okay, great.
Okay. Have a
Take
good
care.
night. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.